Do you remember the last time you felt genuinely excited about something? If not, it is not just you. Today, we're tackling how to break free from the parent rut and cultivate a life of purpose and passion. Learn some small, consistent steps you can take that will lead to big changes, not only in your life, but in your family's life as well. Welcome back to Fulfillment Therapy, my friends. I'm your host, Kendra Nielsen, and today we're exploring how to break free from complacency and reignite that passion for your life, especially when you're feeling stuck as an overwhelmed parent and spouse. This is something I'm very passionate about, so I like to bring it up and share it from a different lens and a different angle. And today I want to explore that a little bit deeper. So I want to start with a story that might resonate with you. One of my clients was talking to me recently about how she just feels like she's waking up every day just existing, not really living. And when she wakes up, she just gets the kids ready. She goes to work, she comes home, she makes dinner, she helps with homework, tidies up the house, and just collapses into bed. She does the same thing day after day with the help of her husband, but also often she even feels resentment because she doesn't feel like she gets as much help as she wants, and she just feels disenchanted with life. And I can relate to that. She told me that she couldn't remember the last time she felt truly excited about something or pursued a personal goal. Like she wouldn't even know what she wanted to do if she tried. She felt very stuck, definitely like she was running on fumes, like so many of my clients talk about. And she was desperate to find a way out of that. Now, does that sound familiar to you? Because many of my clients talk about that. And again, I remember feeling that way too. So many of us find ourselves in this position wondering if we can ever find the energy to be more than mediocre and proactively seek that growth without falling into the trap of over-productivity or burning out completely. My clients are either on one or the other end of the spectrum, but struggle finding that balance. Maybe you haven't even really thought a lot about complacency or really know overly what it is. Complacency is this state of self-satisfaction and even unawareness of deficiencies or things that you're doing that are preventing you from being your best self. It's like being on autopilot and going through the motions without really engaging in life. Sound familiar? Like, I know I can see that in myself often if I'm not careful. We slip back into that so simply. So for parents and spouses, it might look like this. Maybe always choosing the easiest options for family meals, even if it's not the healthiest. It might also be neglecting your personal hobbies or your interests because there's no time, or avoiding difficult conversations with your spouse or your partner because it's easier and less exhausting. It reminds me of a past guest we had on the show, Monica Packer, and she said the opposite of perfectionism isn't stopping. It's moving forward in a different way where that sense of self is the compass. I loved how she said that. So it's mixing it up, showing up in a different way. Now let's talk about how we can do that. Instead of falling into that trap of all or nothing in perfectionism, which so many of my clients have, and I've had at times too, we can adopt an approach of do something. And this means just taking those small, consistent steps towards our goals and embracing imperfection and letting go of failures. It means focusing on the process rather than just the outcome. And again, our podcast guest, Monica Packer, talked about this when she was on, and I really appreciated some of her insights. So I've been exploring those and taking it a step further and looking into how I can even live a more proactive lifestyle without overproducing. And that's a big problem for me. Whichever end of the spectrum you are, there's room for growth. Either coming back more to stillness or coming back into more proactive momentum. For instance, if you've always wanted to learn a new language, but you feel super overwhelmed by that, you can just start with 5 minutes a day. I know sometimes mine is 2 minutes a day even, on language learning apps like Duolingo. Remember, it's just a tiny step in that direction. It doesn't have to be a big amount of time. Or maybe if you've always wanted to write a book, but you can't find those big chunks of time, You can commit to just writing 100 words each day, or breaking it down into something that feels realistic to you and yet still a win. James Clear talked a lot about this, and I love his insights. He's incredible. And he said, the most effective way to change your habits is to focus not on what you want to achieve, but on who you wish to become. And I've really taken that to heart. I love this insight from him. Who do we want to become? So who do you wish to become? Do you want to become that parent that can be more present? Do you want to be that parent who spends 10 minutes a day one-on-one with your kids? What is it that you want the most? Who do you want to become? Do you want to be a writer? Do you want to get that next degree? Do you want to live without excuse and without justification, but really lean into becoming your higher self and your best self? And what does that look like? That takes some introspection for sure. My friends, I know that finding enthusiasm when you're running on empty can seem impossible. I have been there probably more times than I can count. But it's often in these moments that it's most important to push ourselves a little bit, not in this unkind way, but in this, you've got this kind of way. And here are some strategies to do that. Reconnect with your values. It goes back to what James Clear talked about too. Who do you want to be? Like really focusing on what matters the most to you. And how can you align your daily actions with those values? For example, if you're spending all of your time and energy on detailing your house and really making sure it's super clean instead of being present with your kids, and family matters more than a clean house, maybe adjusting your priorities a little bit. Not saying you have to completely abandon cleaning your house, but maybe balancing it out a bit more. The next thing you can do is set those meaningful goals. So choose things that excite you and give you a sense of purpose. That could be 30-minute healthy meal prep on Sundays with your family, or cleaning while listening to a self-help book, or planning out a future self-care retreat and training, making plans to start a new educational degree. And last but not least, you can practice gratitude. This ties to so many things that boost happiness, that boost fulfillment, but it's just about regularly acknowledging the good in your life and how that can shift and boost your mood and improve your home atmosphere when it comes to harmony and peace and a positive outlook on life. I want to talk briefly about a growth mindset. This is something I've talked a lot about before, but it's so important to review because it changes your life. And this was developed by psychologist Carol Dweck. She wrote the book Mindset. And she said that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, through learning and persistence. Here's a quote from her. She said, "The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it's not going well, is the hallmark of a growth mindset." So for parents, that might mean viewing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow. And I know there are so many of them in parenting. Or it might be encouraging your children to embrace challenges and see failures as those stepping stones that will help them become who they're meant to become. And seeing all these opportunities as chances for learning and growth. The whole point of you being here on this earth is to learn and to grow, and I deeply believe that. So what about as spouses? That could be seeing conflicts as a chance to better understand each other instead of despair that it's never going to get better. Or that could be learning new skills together to keep your relationship fresh and exciting and focused on things other than problems. So how can we find that energy? When we feel stagnant, it's easy to believe that we don't have any energy reserves, but often taking action creates energy. And I know that you know that, even though you probably want to play the devil's advocate here. And here are some ways you can tap into those energy reserves. Very simply, you can make sure you are taking care of yourself. Are you exercising? Are you sleeping? Are you feeding yourself the right things so that you're not pouring from an empty cup? Are you setting boundaries and saying no to things that drain you instead of adding value to your life? Are you finding your why and connecting with your deeper motivations for wanting to grow and improve? Like, why do you want that next degree? Why is it important to you? Or why do you want to write a book? Or why do you want to be really present with your kids? Why do you want your relationship to thrive? Understanding the why and going deeper and deeper into that. Now I want to go back to the story of my client. She simply started with a small goal of reading a book for 15 minutes before bed each night. That was her bare minimum. She felt like that was all that she could give. She was running on fumes. This simple thing for self-care sparked this renewed interest within her when it came to learning and not just consuming things. And so she started a book club. And she invited people that stimulated her mind and helped her feel more alive, and also helped her connect in a way that she hadn't for a while, helped her feel like she wasn't so alone. And she started investing in herself in small and simple ways more and more. And she found that she did have more energy and patience for her family, and she didn't anticipate that being connected with it. Over time, it leaked into other areas of her life. So she started cooking healthier meals with her family, and she made it a fun, connecting activity. It didn't always nail it, but overall, it was a win. And with her husband, she initiated these weekly check-ins to talk about their personal and connected goals, and that really strengthened their bond too and gave them more connection. Now, were all of their problems solved? No. But she lit that fire in a very small and simple way. The key was that she didn't wait for motivation or energy to magically appear, but she took that first small step and that energy followed. As she took that step into the darkness, not even really knowing where it would lead or if it would work. My friends, it's also important to note that seeking growth doesn't mean you have to constantly hustle or neglect your well-being, but it's about finding a balance that works for you. This might involve setting very realistic expectations that are not over or underproducing, and celebrating those wins along the way, but also allowing for rest and reflection so that you can learn to savor that stillness. I know that progress is not always linear, and there are setbacks and challenges, but the important thing is to keep moving, even if it's just small steps. It's about learning to create more energy with faith, essentially, knowing that it will come if we take that step. So just a quick recap on some of the things that we talked about today. Break free from complacency by adopting a do-something approach, like our past guests talked about, and reignite your passion by connecting with your values and setting some meaningful goals. Embrace a growth mindset to view challenges as opportunities for learning, because that is where joy comes. And find energy by taking action and practicing that self-care that we talk about all the time. And last but not least, balance personal growth with well-being. Find that balance between overproductivity versus underproductivity. My friends, the transformation really does lie in the process and not just the outcome. And when we take those small, consistent steps and focus on progress rather than perfection, we can break free from that stagnation and create a more fulfilling life. Thank you for joining me today on Fulfillment Therapy. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and remember that every small step counts. Don't forget to check out our courses on our website, fulfillmenttherapy.org, if you want to take your life to the next level, whether that's with personal growth, marriage, parenting, or one of our 3 business courses to start your own online business or podcast that will help you create positive ripples and become your best self. Until next time, my friends, remember we have new episodes every Monday and Thursday. I'll see you then. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, chances are someone else would too. Would you take 30 seconds to share this with a friend who's looking for greater family fulfillment? And while you're sharing, tell me what you think about the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It refuels me when I hear this podcast is helping you. No matter what your house or your hair looks like, I'll meet you back here every Monday and Thursday morning for more episodes. Until then.